Welcome back to another episode of Positive Solutions for Life. This is Peggy Meyer, and today we're diving into a powerful truth that might challenge how you've approached growth up until now. So let's start. The number one way to learn anything is by doing it. We've been taught to believe that learning comes from reading, watching, listening, attending seminars, taking notes, talking to mentors, and yes, all of that has value. But real learning, the kind that transforms you, that builds skill, confidence, and results, only happens when you start doing. And if you're like me, kind of like a perfectionist, an overthinker, or just sometimes stuck in prep mode, this episode is your wake up call. So let's break it down. What's the difference between learning, studying, and doing? You can study forever. You can read every book, you can listen to every podcast like this one, go to every event, but if you don't take action, if you don't do the thing, you won't truly learn it. Learning is like absorbing new information. You watch webinars, you attend webinars, you listen to podcasts, you read the books and highlight the quotes. It's foundational. You consume the information, but it's passive. Studying is a little bit more because you're organizing, you're analyzing information. It's where you go deeper. I mean, you're taking the notes and you're trying to make sense of what you're learning, and it feels really productive. But it can also become like a comfort zone. Doing is where real transformation happens. It's applying what you're learning and you're studying in the real world and getting feedback. It's messy, it's unpredictable, but it's where growth happens and results live. Think about school. Think about way back when you're going to school. You didn't learn to spell words by reading the dictionary. You practiced spelling the words over and over again. Anybody remember those spelling tests every Friday? Yeah. You got some wrong, right? And you got feedback. You corrected them. Okay, maybe you had to write them 50 times. You spelled them again. You wrote them again. Okay, and you got tested again. The same with math. You practiced doing the math problems. You didn't just read about them or listen to the teacher talk about them. You did the work. You did the math problems. You got feedback. You corrected the ones you got wrong. You tried again. Learning is in the doing. In sports, same thing. Athletes spend way more time practicing than playing. The game is the test. The results are feedback. They take the feedback and you practice getting better at the things that you need to get better at. We are learning and getting feedback all the time through our daily life experiences. You speed on the highway, you get a ticket. You touch a hot stove, you burn yourself. You miss a step, you fall down. Each moment teaches you something. The more you do, the more actions you take, the more feedback you get. And feedback is how you grow and get better at anything. You can learn more in 12 hours of doing than 12 weeks of studying. And this kind of reminds me of the episode, I believe it's on July 25th. Like Jenny and Shelly were my guests on that. And they talked about going what in their college days, they were door-to-door salespersons for educational resources. They didn't just get thrown into a sales course. They did sit and like listen to some things. They got information on how to handle objections and what to do. But they really learned and applied that when they got out and they sold door to door. They got rejected. They adjusted their approach. They got better. That's how they built the real skills, and they learned so much about their mindset doing that. The same with you. If you spelled words wrong or math problems that didn't get right, what did you tell yourself? If you didn't make the starting lineup, were you a failure? If you made any kind of mistake in your life, what was the message you told yourself? Is it that you were not good at it? That you would never be good at it? That you maybe were stupid or a loser? What was the message? Or was the message, hey, this is what I can work on to improve and get better at? Your mindset holds the key to if you will do more or if you will stop and give up. So, how are you interpreting the feedback? Are you interpreting the feedback as dead end, stop, give up? Or what can you improve? What can you get better at? Can you just practice a little bit more? What is the feedback telling you, and how are you interpreting it? And if you're interpreting it kind of like as a dead end, as a stop, like what's really holding you back? What you tell yourself is holding you back. But what's underneath those words? I'm a failure. It doesn't work. What is really going on in your head? When it comes down to it, fear. We're afraid of something. What if I do it wrong? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't know enough yet? These are all fear-based questions that keep us stuck in studying or learning mode, avoiding taking action. A lot of people stay stuck because they don't want to fail. They're afraid to look foolish. They're not ready yet, or they feel unprepared. They're afraid to be seen starting small because they're not going to be really great at it at first. But guess what? You weren't ready to learn to ride a bike either. You just got on, you wobbled, and you figured it out. You weren't an expert at riding a bike the first time you got on it. You weren't an expert at walking the first time you tried it. Here's the truth. Not taking action is the only real failure because even the wrong action gives you feedback that moves you forward. You figured out what doesn't work. Starting small is brave. Not knowing is where all learning begins. You don't need permission to start from anyone. You just have to decide to start. So think of your life as a laboratory, and you are the researcher. Think of yourself as a scientist in your own life. Researchers don't fear experiments failing. In fact, they expect it. They expect failure. Every experiment, successful or not, good or bad, gives them data, gives them information, gives them results. And all results are valuable information. That's how they learn. That's how they pivot. That's how they adjust and improve. So every time you take action, you're running an experiment, just like a scientist. And sorry if you don't like science, but here's the truth, right? You have an hypothesis like a researcher. You have an idea in our terms. You test it. You take action. You observe the results. You get feedback. You adjust and you try again. It's this is how like real progress happens. It's not always about getting it right. It's about getting data, gathering information, learning and adapting. Fail faster, learn quicker. It's about doing more things because learning builds confidence and confidence drives action. Action gets results. Here's how it works. Take action, get feedback, adjust, grow, learn, build confidence, take more action, take bigger action. That's really the essence of the competence confidence loop that builds momentum to take more action over and over again. But the loop never starts without the first action. You have to decide to take action, decide to get better, decide to improve your life, and take one small step. So stop studying. Start testing. Here's the challenge for today's episode. What's one thing you've been thinking about doing but haven't acted on yet? What is one step you can take today to try to test it? What could you learn if you simply tried it? Good or bad? What can you learn from taking action? Remember, you've done this before. You've tried something, you've gotten feedback, you adjusted, you figured things out. This is no different. What is one thing that you've been thinking about doing? Take action on it today. You don't need more courses. You don't need more books to read or more podcasts to listen, but please continue to listen to mine, please. You just need more courage. You don't need to know everything. You just need to begin. You need experience. Learning and studying prepares you. Doing transforms you from the inside out.